I'm going to say, thanks, grace of heaven, virtues of masters, grand predecessors, transmitters, lecturers, and everyone here to give me this opportunity to learn to speak on today's topic, Introduction of Dao. Okay.
Oh, it's bouncing.
Nice PowerPoint.
Stop making fun of me. Okay. So the Dao. So a lot of people don't really understand. When I first receive Dao, I don't really understand what Dao is. And okay, so Dao is the roots, the source, the essence, the origins, the creator, God, and the absolute truth. The essence is the everything. Dao is the essence of everything in the cosmos. Is unchanging truth. The truth cannot be found in science, technologies, literatures, or in any other forms. Therefore, because Dao is void and is formless, but all forms arise from the Dao. Dao is not a religion, but all the world major religions derive from it. Okay. So in the Dao De Jing, it says, the Dao that can be spoken is not the eternal Dao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the origin of heaven and earth. The name is the mother of myriad things. Thus, constantly without desires, one observes its essence. Constantly with desires, one observes its manifestations. These two merge together but different in names. The unity is said to be the mystery of mysteries, the door to all wonders. So the Tao cannot be spoken is because Tao is fullness and void. And we cannot use any words to truly describe it because Tao is everywhere. It can be anything and everywhere. Therefore, there's no really a words to describe it. The name that can be named is not the eternal name because if we name it, it's kind of put it into the box and everything become limited. Okay, Tao is unlimited, and the nameless is the origin of every heaven and earth. Because Tao is formless, it doesn't really have a name. Because we have this phenomena, physical earth, we had to put a name on everything. But it's formless, and therefore it can create everything in the cosmos. So therefore, the name is the mother of myriad things. And when we are constantly without desires, without thoughts, then what we can see is our essence. It's like, and constantly with desire, what we see is forms, manifestations. The two merge together but different in names. It's like what lecture title is like two sides of the same coin. Tao is formless, and yet it can give rise to all the forms. The unity is said to be the mystery of mysteries, the door to all wonders. Mystery because it's a creator of everything, you know. Constantly without desires means that okay, if we get a cup of water and then we put like a whole bunch dirt in there and then we stir it up and then we couldn't see the bottom because it's all cloudy. And if we have so much desires and thoughts, hatreds, then we couldn't really see our true self. But if we let go of our desires, then it's kind of like peeling off, or like let all the dirt settle in the cup, and then we can see clearly in the water.
Yeah, so each of those are at least like come in pairs, right? The lines, first two lines, third and fourth, and then the fifth and sixth, right? So those are like, well, it's essence and function, or essence and manifestation. So those are the two aspects of the Tao. Let's
see a bouncing ball. Okay. So Dao is it's not a religion, but all the religion derive from the Dao. So in Taoism, it called the Dao the origins, and what they practice is non-motivational actions.
It just means it's unconditional.
Yeah. Without a motive. When we do something without a motive, right? Now to say a man must return to his roots in order to restore the true life, true self. And Buddha calls it Buddha, enlightened beings, and they practice compassion, be kind and loving to all sentient beings. And Buddha says everyone has this bodhi, the innate wisdom, right? And this everyone has the seed of becoming enlightened. Confucianism calls it heaven or God. They practice humanity or reciprocity, such as treat other people the way you want to be treated. And Confucius said that mankind must serve heaven. We must do everything in accord with our Buddha nature because our Buddha nature comes from God. Christianity calls it God, Father, Jehovah, and they practice brotherhoods. Jehovah says everyone is the son of God. And Islam calls it Allah. They practice righteousness. All that practice is derived from the Tao. Okay. So in the scientists' theory claim that there was a Big Bang that created the universe. So what was that before the Big Bang? What caused this Big Bang? In order to have the explosion, the Big Bang, there must have been a massive source of energy. And this source is called Tao. So. Okay, so Tao, this Tao in everything in the cosmos has a principle, right? The absolute principle, and this principle in our body is called our true self, Buddha nature, right? Our conscience, and because we have this form, we need to act out. Everything we do need to be in accord with our Buddha nature. And then when we act it out, it's called the propriety. In Chinese, this li and this li sound the same, but it's also kind of means the same. It's one is the accent and the other one is the function. So we need to do everything in accord with that principle, our Buddha nature. Okay. So yeah, so this Tao has that principle, and that principle where the law of nature derived from this principle. The law of nature means govern all the objects and actions in the universe. It applies to everything in the cosmos. Everything in the cosmos has an order. Otherwise, chaos will happen everywhere, and we will not be able to survive. Law of nature is such as how the Earth orbits around the suns, and they don't collide into each other. Law of nature means like such as 4 seasons. They do not randomly jump around the seasons from what everything has to be in order. So after spring, it comes summer. After summer, it comes autumn. After autumn, it comes winter. Such as the sun always rises from the east and come down on the west. So they always follow that order. They don't have that sentiment. Emotions. I was like, I don't feel like getting up on the east today. I maybe come out on the west. Yeah. So So the whole universe is follow this law of nature. So should we, that to guide us and to govern us, our conducts. So this law of nature applies on the plants. It's called growth nature. So plants, it doesn't have a feeling. It doesn't have a feeling. It's just when you put it in the dirt and then you water it and then you get enough sun and environments, it will, if its condition is right, it will grow, right? And then animal has a growth and sense nature because sense nature, which means they were able to feel and sense their surroundings, right? And they also have the growth nature. And then humans has a growth sense and awareness. That awareness is, with this awareness, we are able to think, create, imagine, create everything in this world. Okay. So let's talk about the principle of our body again. The three character sutra says 人之初性本善, which means that in the beginning our nature was originally pure and good, which without any defilements. However, as we incarnate many lifetimes, we have forgotten where we came from, heaven, and accumulated many bad habits and temperaments. So we got lost in this secular world. And then this law of nature is also called the cause and effect because every action there's a reaction. Every decision we make, there's gonna be something else happen, right? Such as if we plant a seed, an apple seed, and if we water it and give enough sunlight, it will grow an apple tree, right? It will not grow something else, a pear tree. If we hit somebody, what will happen? You will create that hatred, right? Or somebody will hit you back. So I think a lot of other, with Christianity, they don't believe in cause and effect or causality because, I don't know why they don't believe that. But causality is in our everyday life, such as when we stare at someone and what would that cause? If we treat someone nicely, someone will treat us nicely back, right? And then if we are mean to someone, and someone will be mean to us back. And without this cause and effect, science will not able to make any kind of experiment because they have to, let's say you mix two chemicals together and then something will happen. That's cause and effect.
No,
Right.
they believe in causality. Yeah. I mean, they believe in consequences. There are consequences. They know about that.
That's why.
That's why it's right there.
No, but they
But
don't
they don't
apply
necessarily
it
apply it to
to-
reincarnation.
Yeah,
That's
they-
the
Correct.
aspect.
to
Yeah.
karma. They don't apply it to karma.
But because our Buddha nature is eternal, and then it never dies, so therefore, even though you might not read this consequence, but you might, still have to pay it back next life. But I guess Christianity, they don't believe in the reincarnation, right?
Well, to them, just one life cycle is everything. So to me, that's very short-sighted, because that doesn't explain a lot of things. It has gaps, a lot of things, right? That doesn't explain. So if I could be an outright, mass murderer, and as long as I accept Jesus as my savior, I'm forgiven. So I'm hunky-dory, then I go back to heaven. That to me that means all my actions in the past, in this one life, as a mass murderer, it's forgiven. It's A-okay. It's A-okay. To me, that doesn't make sense. That's like being a mass murderer. And then on my deathbed, right before I go to the gas chamber, if I got caught or whatever, I said, oh, yeah, Holy Father, I repent.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but and then everything's hunky-dory after that. To me, that everyone should be a mass murderer. That means there's no consequence. What it means that the logical thing is that means there's no consequence to your previous actions, right? No consequence. You're forgiven. You're okay. I mean, no, there's a physical consequence. You got caught. Don't get caught. You got caught. You get a needle. Okay. But if you didn't get caught, there are a lot of unsolved crimes, cold cases, right? Right? There are even mass murders that we don't know about or we haven't caught, right? Law hasn't caught up to them. So let's get away with it. To me, that doesn't make sense.
Well,
That's irrational,
Well, yeah. First of all,
right?
First of all, it's not really that Christianity doesn't have a reincarnation. Okay, the interpretation of reincarnation is the resurrection. Okay, because
Well-
Christianity does believe in resurrection.
No, only Jesus.
Well, no. Because no, if you believe in the faith system is that if you believe in Jesus Christ upon your death, you'll be resurrected.
Seventh-day Adventist.
Well,
Seventh-day
Well,
Adventist.
there's many different groups out there, many different denominations,
Interpretations.
denominations. But the basic belief is the fact that upon your death, should you and then upon the second coming of Christ, where you will be resurrected
From the grave.
So in that sense, you can say, it's a form of reincarnation. If you want to
Actually,
call
that's
it that.
But they don't
But-
believe in that, like
Yeah.
from one body to
Yeah,
another.
from one
Because
life
when
to
you
the next.
die, you only have one life.
That's why it's called the resurrection as opposed to reincarnation, because resurrection means what? You're
The same body.
same.
No, but in the Old
Yeah.
Testament, that's not true because in the Old Testament, if you read a lot of the prophets, the chapter, the Isaiah,
when you talk about the
Ezekiel,
prophets, yeah.
Jeremiah,
Right.
Samuel, Daniel, they're all prophets, right? They're all prophets. I forgot which prophet.
Yeah, they did.
Said that.
Isaiah.
No, I don't know if it's Isaiah or somebody or Ezekiel, one of those guys said, I will come back again
Right.
in another life.
Right. Yeah.
But
So-
he's not Christ.
Right.
He's not Christ. He's a prophet.
Right.
He's only a prophet. So if you interpret that way, that means that's reincarnation. That's reincarnation, in a very general sense. Okay. So even during or after Christ's time, there are different we call sect or groups, denominations, groups of Christians. They believe they don't have a Bible yet at that time, or the Bible that we know of it today. The Essenes, for example, or the Gnostics, a lot of them believe in quote-unquote reincarnation. You know that? A lot of them believe in that. It's just that after, the Catholic Church was set up, roughly 300 AD under Emperor Constantine, because he converted, right? They established what we call the Catholicism, which is universal, means universal teaching, whatever God. And that's when the first Bible came out, right? Or the first official Bible we call it. And that's why they got rid of a lot of the Gnostic teachings, they don't, Essenes, Book of Thomas, Book of Mary, there's the Gospel of Mary, Gospel of Thomas, whole bunch of Gospels. They got rid, they kind of collected, say, hey, we're just going to believe in, we're going to put together a Bible that only include Gospel of what? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and a lot of, not Gospel, but a lot of writings by who? By Paul. Paul's the big part. The rest of the New Testament is essentially all Paul's. Essentially. I mean, besides the first four Gospels, right? New Testament, you have Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Then you have Revelation is right, and Revelations is John, right? John, okay.
And John.
Well, yeah. But anyway, yeah. And then the rest is pretty much Thessalonians, Galatians, whole bunch of stuff, letters, Romans. Those are all written by Paul. You know that? So Paul is like the next main figure, basically after Jesus, or after
People say it's
the
actually was not John, it's James.
the disciples. Yeah, some people say it's not the same
Well,
James.
anyway,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I'm not
some people say they
concerned about
are.
the history-
It doesn't
the
matter.
Records,
Yeah,
chronology.
it's Saint John the Divine of Patmos, where he was in the author of the Revelations. He was Saint John the Divine of Patmos, the island where he was in exile. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Okay, so example of cause and effects. When we kill an animal and they will harbor this hatreds, and this hatred will not go away. So they, of course, they want a revenge, right? For painfully killed. So this is like, then we're creating a bad karma. Although their body might not be there anymore, but their spirit lives on. And it's just like in Taiwanese, when someone's passed away, they call it 过身. It's like moving from one body to another. And then so eventually they want to take a revenge in some forms, maybe in another lifetime or spiritually, causing all the disharmony in the families. And because of this hatred, we tend to get entangled in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. However, through cultivations, we could use our virtue and merits to offset our karmas. Through cultivation of doubt, we can break off this cycle of reincarnation and learn to forgive, forget, and be compassionate to others. So anybody know what Buddha nature is?
It's indescribable. but
Divine nature.
It's the driver of our body, just like a car needs a driver.
Right, it's the master.
Right?
It's the true master.
It's our true master.
It's the eternal being, eternal.
That's why we call it.
essence.
That's why we call it our true self.
Some people also interpret, in the Christian sense, it's called like the image of God
That's
within
the
you.
divine nature.
The image, God's image.
The divine spark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and also, by the way, the idea of that, we say cause and effect involving animals and all that stuff. Of course, that's all derived from comes as a consequence of how Buddha says that all things are all sentient beings. Now, when he talks about sentient beings, he doesn't say just humans are sentient. Okay, so therefore he includes animals, etc. So therefore, because he talks about all sentient beings, so therefore anything we do with those sentient, or how we relate those sentient beings, has consequences. Now, in other beliefs, there's not the idea of soul and all that stuff does not include
Or apply to
apply to those life forms that are not human. Okay, so therefore, in that sense, they would not see it as such. Okay, that animals have souls or whatever. So in that sense, one does not apply the same, I guess, principle. So it is two different levels, because one is very, very inclusive, and one is not.
It's pretty narrow.
It's okay. You want to call it that? Yeah. It's a little bit more restrictive. Okay, of how it interprets that what animal or human have souls or not. Yes. I'm sorry.
They don't have soul.
Well,
It not very? Maybe it's not complete soul, isn't it?
Yeah, because then we started quantifying, right? So but basically, what I think what the Buddha's rationale or definition for for a sentient being is including not just humans, is because even animals can feel pain. They can feel pleasure. I mean, those of you who have pets, you can tell if your pet dog or cat is happy or not happy, right? Come on. When you come home, the dog will come and wag their tail and lap you, and sometimes they're happy to see their master, right, or owner, whatever. Cats maybe not so much, okay, but at least they can. I can tell you this much: they can feel pain, just like humans. You hit the dog, they'll feel pain, right?
Right.
Whereas a plant, now people say, oh yeah, you cut a plant, you hit you step on grass. Oh yeah, does the grass cry out and say, hey, don't step on me, I'm in pain? No, right? As far as we know, I mean now some kind of like, I don't want to say tree huggers, but some of these these extreme
Tree
things,
huggers.
they would say, oh, Even plants can feel something, can sense something. They use, I don't know, some auras, or they say, oh, look, 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 But that's not pain. It just means that, yeah, plants being biological organisms, i.e. living, they're living, right? They're living, right? Living organisms. They do respond to external stimuli, right? Respond to, you grow a sunflower, right? You put light, the sunflower will tilt towards the sun. You know that? That's what's called sunflower, right? It'll tilt. They'll track the sun across the sky. You know that, right? But that's because the sunflower doesn't have a brain and say, you know what? I'm going to follow the sun from the east to the west. They have no will. They have no volition. Get it? Will and volition, right? Volition. Free will. Some people call it free will. Free will is a little bit more narrow. But volition in general. Plants don't have that. Plants just respond to stimuli. Sunlight, water. You give it nutrients, it'll grow. You don't give it nutrients, no sunlight, no water, it'll die, right? Very simple, right? Very simple. Okay. Animals have, on the other hand, just like humans, have volition. If it's too cold, they're going to go someplace that's warm, right? 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 They see somebody, they're scared, they're going to run away, right? Right? Dogs will tuck its tail between its legs and run away, right? Or if they see a stranger coming to the house, intruder, they'll bark, right? Because they have volition. Now people say, oh, that's instinct. Well, but they have a choice. The point is they have a choice. They can pick and choose, in other words, right? They can pick and choose. They say, hey, this is cold, I want to move to someplace that's warm. Or this is too hot, I want to move to someplace that's cool, in the shade. I don't want to be standing out in the sun all day. I want to go to the shade, right? A plant can't do that, right? So that's the distinction, the line drawn between what's a sentient being and a non-sentient being. Get it? Makes sense, right?
Okay. Yes. Another example of cause and effect is that so when we have a good thought, the universe will return us with everything that's good, and vice versa. So in science, in the last few hundred years, the sciences has proved that our thoughts and matters are connected, which means our thoughts affects our surroundings, such as this water experiments. So you get a glass of water and you say a lot of good words and you put it in the freezer and then you take it out after a few hours and you look at under the microscope and then it forms a very beautiful crystals. And then versus when you get a water and then you say all the bad words and you look at and then freeze it up and then a few hours later you take it out and it forms really, really ugly crystals. Okay, or not even a crystal, and it goes with everything. Like they did an experiment on the strawberries, rice, everything. So this proven that 金刚经, the Diamond Sutra says, 相由心生, 境随心转, which means our surroundings change as our heart and minds changes. Yet, as technology has become more advanced and people's heart and minds gotten further away from the truth because they tend to pursue the material things, fames, wealth, right? And not value what is truly important, which is our Buddha nature. This will cause the declines of ethics and morality and lead to like conflict among people in society. This also explains why there are so many calamities because we are not in accord with our true nature. When we see Dao, our enlightened master, holy teacher, use the hand of transmitter to open up the first treasure and point out our true nature, open our wisdoms. And some call it the third eyes, the wisdom eyes, the narrow gates. These are different names, but all means the same. This true wisdom is, some call it like sixth sense or gut feelings, is not learned. It's our innate wisdoms from our true natures. Whereas common sense, common wisdoms comes from experience and knowledge. The more we practice virtuous acts, the greater our virtues will be. When we have desires and attachments and perform unwholesome acts, we will suppress this. All these will suppress our wisdoms. So to realize our true self, true natures, we should always self-reflect and introspect, think and act in accord with our true nature. When we add out this principle, the true nature that's the propriety. So, which means doing everything proper and appropriate for any given situations, performing virtuous acts. Why it's so important to act out the proprieties? Because Confucius says, what heaven confer us is the nature. Accordance with this nature is the Dao. So everything in the cosmos had to follow these principles, such as a train had to ride on the railroad, a boat had to sail on the water, a car had to drive on the road. For us as humans to live a harmonious life, we have to listen to our inner voice while dealing with peoples and all matters, and not let our emotions, desires, or greeds take control of us. Listen to this inner voice to ratify our conducts and behaviors. We should do things because it's the right thing to do, not because we could gain something out of it. And in doing that, we should always practice the 8 virtues and 5 constants, which are filial pieties, brotherhoods, loyalties, faith, proprieties, righteousness, integrity, and shame. And 5 constants are benevolent, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faith. It's basically, peeling off the bad habits and our temperaments, and then try to perform all these virtuous acts, try to bring out our true nature, aware of what we're doing. Okay. So in the Doctrine of Meaning, Confucius said that Dao cannot be deviated from a momentarily. If can be deviated from, then it's not the true Dao. Because what is different between a dead body and a live body? It's just we don't have this soul in our body. Because with this soul in our body, dead body has the eyes and nose and hands, but they can move, they can see, they can hear, they can smell or eat or feel. So with this Dao, this true nature in our soul in our body, then we can perform and act out, hear and smell and think. Okay. So as a cultivators, we need to realize that this 3 Dharma seals, which marks the existence, the truth of the universe, because everything is impermanent. It's called anicca. Anicca. Okay. Yeah, it's misspelled.
It's
There's
supposed to
no-
be A-N-N-I-C-A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the other N.
No.
Third N.
No.
A-N-N-I-C-A.
No, one N.
One N.
Anicca.
2 C's.
Yeah, anicca.
One N.
That's Sanskrit for
Yeah.
impermanence.
Okay. So
Yeah, anicca.
everything with the form is impermanent, including all the planets and stars. So eventually it will come to the end. So that's why it just Saint Buddha say it's just a illusion.
Yeah, they put in ropes up.
And then dukkha, or everything that has a form is.
It's really unsatisfactoriness.
Oh yeah.
It's or dissatisfaction. You can say unsatisfaction.
Or incomplete.
Yeah, incomplete. Yeah, incomplete. You can say incomplete.
Yeah,
Just imperfect is better.
imperfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
imperfect.
And then
It's not
another.
ideal. In other words, not ideal. Dukkha. Nothing is ideal in real life, right? What's ideal? I mean, that means perfect, right? That means the prince and princess live happily ever after. So that's ideal, right? That's ideal. But come on. When we're young, we hear all these, we read about all these ideal stuff, right? But in reality, that's not the case, right? 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 Even when we first meet our spouses, right? Oh, everything's so perfect. Yeah, I love you forever. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah.
Okay.
But once you start living together, uh-oh.
And then they start hating each other.
Why do you leave the toothpaste all over the place?
Exactly.
Why do you throw your socks all over
Why
the place?
you don't put down the toilet
why don't you-
seat?
Yeah. So like, get it? Makes sense, right? So that's what.
Why you
That's-
take off your socks and throw it
That's
everywhere?
not satisfactory. That's therefore imperfect, not ideal. Get it? Makes sense? Makes sense? I bet you that happens to everybody.
Exactly.
Even the so-called ideal marriage, the happily ever after.
They still get into
So
fights.
like what's that? Prince Harry and Meghan Markle or whatever. I don't know. Even that's a storybook marriage, right? Storybook marriage, right?
So-
Storybook
I
marriage.
was thinking about that.
Believe you me, in their home, in their palaces rather. Sorry, they're gonna have arguments. They're gonna have differences in arguments.
But
Believe you me, okay?
even if they have a perfect marriage, in the end they still have to, go their
their
separate
own
way
way.
when they
I
die,
guess-
right?
I guess life is not perfect.
Right, precisely.
Well, we just do the
No,
best.
you deal with it. We'll deal with it. But the question is, how do you deal with it? That's the question.
That's suffering.
That's the big question. But that is still suffering because you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you have to have patience. You have to endure it. You have to endure pain.
Tolerate it.
Whatever. You have to tolerate, etc. Isn't that suffering? Then therefore that's suffering. Get it? So it's not ideal in the sense.
It's not always accepting it.
Yeah, part of it is acceptance.
Oh,
Yeah,
why?
right. How to deal with. Yeah. But that's good too. But as long as you accept it and don't react negatively to it, then you won't create karma. That's the good part. Yeah, that's good. That's right. Patience is a virtue, right? That's what
So
they say.
life
Tolerance is a virtue, right?
life is suffering. It's like anything we see and then it get our nerd. We get annoyed by it.
It's suffering, yeah.
Yeah, so that's all types of suffering, right? I mean, suffering has many.
I guess when we understand the truth, then it becomes.
Then you can accept it, you can say,
we-
or
we-
endure it,
we
or
can
tolerate it.
live in
Yeah, you can live with it.
harmonious,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
I guess it depends on how
You
bad
have to
it is.
understand. You have to realize it. Say, oh, this is what life is. That's the real life. Not what I read in the storybook. When I was young about happily ever after, blah blah blah. That's false, right? That's fiction, right? That's fiction. So that's not reality. That's not true reality. So that's part of the first fold, right? Four Noble Truths, right? Buddha taught about that. Four Noble Truths. Understanding the Four Noble Truths. Understanding what reality is. What the true nature of physical life is. It's not perfect.
I guess why we're here is to learn life is not perfect, and there's a lesson to learn, and we transcend that.
Right.
Okay. So even life is not perfect, but we still have to move, do our best in life. And this society is made of 5 relationships. Okay, the 5 basic relationships, such as superior and subordinate. Well, nowadays is the boss and employer and employee, right? And then father and sons, and husband and wife, siblings and friends.
But actually, that's universal because any society, unless you're Robinson Crusoe, you live all alone on the island. But even then, he met Tuesday, right? He met Friday, Tuesday, whatever. Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. Take your pick, doesn't matter. He met Friday, and so therefore that become friends. I don't know if it's Friday, whoever, right? Anybody know the story of Robinson Crusoe? I guess that's before
Friday
your
is the
time.
what? The
No.
animal?
It's a famous story, but
What is Friday?
Friday's the name of a person.
Oh,
He met
I
a.
forgot the story.
Well, it's probably before your time, but
No, I saw the movie.
Well, besides the first 4, and then everyone else we met is friends.
yeah, you can say that.
Yeah.
You can say that.
So-
Colleagues, friends, yeah.
So we should
But that's
be
universal. So when you think about it, it's universal.
okay. So as a ruler or employer, they should take care of their employees because their employees help them run their business, right? And then as the employee, they should be respectful and be loyal to the boss because the boss pay them salaries, and if the boss is a virtuous person, they take care of them, Therefore, they need to be respectful to them. And then father and sons, it's kind of like parents and children's, right? Parents need to treat their children with love and understanding, provide them, with clothing, food, teach them the moral values, and then in return, the children should respect and obey their parents and perform the filial acts, And as a husband and wife, but in the old days, the husband is the breadwinner, and then the wife do all the stuff at home. But nowadays, because women ask for the equal right, so we need to do the equal task, right? However, I think women still do more stuff because we give birth, and it's not fun to giving birth.
They do all the house chores.
Yeah, and
Except
then
take the garbage out.
It depends on the household. Some men do it, and women don't do it. You see?
well, taking out the garbage is just like
The husband does
takes
that.
5 minutes, but taking care of running the house is like ongoing things. So taking out the garbage is not a big deal, right? And then siblings, siblings need to love each other because they all come from their parents, and then loving each other, taking care of each other is kind of a part of performing the filial acts to the parents. The older sibling need to look out for their younger siblings, and younger siblings need to respect the older siblings. And then friends. So when we encounter friends, we should always have this basic trust. If you don't trust that person, then don't be their friends. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, and okay, so, okay. Yeah, so the principle of Dao is to respect heaven and earth, to follow the ways of the saintly, to love nation and to act with loyalty, to have a sincere characters and to esteem the proper behaviors, to be filial toward parents, to uphold teachers, to trust friends, to be harmonious with neighbors, to transform evil into good. And then here's a continue. This is like summarize what we should do as a cultivator, right? To understand and elucidate the 5 cardinal relationships and 8 cardinal virtues, to diligently abide by the full ethical principles and 5 constant virtues, to purify the heart and mind and wash away anxieties, to utilize the false forms, the false self, this body, and to cultivate our true self, the eternal truth, to uncover one's original Buddha nature, to manifest the inherent perfections of one's conscience and virtues, to establish oneself and help others establish themselves, to achieve and help others achieve, to bring peacefulness and harmony into the world, to enlighten people and manifest their humanity, to bring about a world of unity and harmony. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, only if we can.
I mean, but each line in itself is a separate topic. You could go more in depth, but that's summary. That's a summary.
Yeah. I see my bouncing ball. Well, yeah, this is concludes my presentation. Well, I just want to summarize something. I think a lot of with the religion, they kind of do it one step at a time, but they cultivate it one step at a time. They might not know what their ultimate goal is. And with the Dao, cultivation is like after we receiving the Tao, and then they print out our Buddha nature. So so we can cultivate from the bottom and going up, but we know our goal is, right? We know this is, or like we can cultivate from within, versus as a religion, they cultivate from outside forms. Cultivation in religion is like beating around the bushes, not knowing where they're going, really, or like cultivate to have a better blessings in their next life. Versus as Tao cultivation is, it's realizing our true self. And then when you realize your true self, you can apply everything accordingly. Yeah.
The Buddha teacher said in the religion, people pray to they're not acknowledging they are Buddha themselves.
Right.
So they pray
External,
for
right.
other Buddhas, other
Yes, another way
saints and
of
sages.
saying broadly, generally, is that all religions are in some form or some degree or another are also basically all rely on certain forms. What I mean by forms, it could be a statue, it could be anything, a tree, a stone, a rock, but also on Bible, text. They say scriptures, right? Now, in Tao, we read the scriptures. That's true. We try to, but you have to go beyond it. So just like in your earlier slide, the first slide says the Tao, right, cannot be called the Tao, or the Tao is indescribable. So it's not even in words, okay? But so we have to elevate ourselves. We have to reach that, that you can say aha moment, that epiphany, that enlightened state. It's a nice state, right? Because even Buddha said that Tao, in the flower sermon, right? The Tao is beyond scripture, okay? Or the way, the true teaching. The true teaching is, or the highest teaching is beyond words. So that's the difference, essential difference between Tao, we call it Tao, and religion. Get it? So all religion relies on something. Islam relies on the Quran. God forbid you should what? Slander the Quran, right? Remember, right? Otherwise, there will be what do you call that? A fatwa against you, right? A fatwa meaning a religious edict, okay? Right? Same thing with Christianity, right? You follow some Christians are what we call literalists. You know what I mean? That means they literally follow word by word, the Bible, what the scripture says, right? That's why you have, for example, the Amish. I'm using Amish. I don't want to pile on that. But the Amish, follow the Old Testament, which basically when I think God said to Abraham, I forgot whoever, Joseph, Abraham, whatever, said that, women, cannot do work outside the home. You understand, right? So therefore the Amish, you go to the Amish, you go to Quakers, the Quakers are similar, but they're different. But you go to, Pennsylvania or one of the Amish country, or other parts of the U.S., but, all women, all Amish women don't do any work. They only stay at home.
No, it's not that they don't do any work.
No.
They do work at home,
right,
which
right.
is
They don't do work.
24/7.
Right.
You cannot say they don't do any
let me
work.
qualify.
Women stay
They
home,
don't
do more work.
No, what I meant is they don't do jobs outside the home. That's what I'm trying to say. So in other words, Amish women cannot work out on the farm fields. They cannot be cowgirls. Okay, they cannot do any of that. Get it? Okay, and also, their dress code. They cannot wear pants, slacks. By the way, they must wear skirts. Get it? No,
Just
because
like the
that's
1800s.
literal translation from the Bible.
The
Understand?
bonnets.
Understand? Okay, so that's so that's a form that you're attached to say, so-called, God's words or whatever, said this and this, and so you follow to the letter. Make sense? So that means you believe, your foundation of your belief is based on those words. Make sense? Okay? So that's wrong. That's not the true teaching. Okay, let's go.